Hello YouTube, it's been quite a minute since I posted. I think today I'm going to cover a tranny replacement on a Scion XB. So I'm going to try to do this the best I can. It's been a while since I posted, so hopefully you guys enjoy the video. First thing you do, you don't have to do this first, but it's drain the oil. And then, since it's up in the air, I'm going to take the flywheel bolts off. So drain it, drain the oil, and remove the flywheel bolts. And I'm doing that because I'm already up in the air. Might as well do that now. So we'll do that. So I drained it, and there's a little plate right here. It just pulls right on out. I was even able to do it with my fingers. And the flywheel bolts will be in there. If the flywheel bolts aren't where you can see them, you're gonna have to turn your motor. And I believe that's a 19. And so the bolt comes here, and you crack it loose and take it off. And then move the motor to the next one. There should be 4 of them. I believe it's 4 or 6. I think it's 6 actually. But they're 14s. They should be. So I removed all the flywheel bolts already. And they are 14, and there's 6 of them. And the crank bolt is a 19. So now, if I was really trying to save time, I would right now take the wheels off, take the axles out, because I'm trying to save time. But I'm not really trying to rush this too much. But to save a little time, since it's up in the air, and I'm not going back and forth, I'll have to take this bracket off. So after I take the bracket off, I'll bring it back down, disconnect the battery, and we'll go from there. Take the battery support and the bracket underneath it. It's a support. It's a bracket that helps support the base of the battery holder. It helps hold this side up, but you take those 2 off. Those are 12s or 14. I think it's 12. So once you take those pieces off, that one and that bottom one, you can take your airbox off. So I will show you what it looks like once it's removed, and we'll keep on going. I took the airbox off. You take the top part of it off, and you take the bottom part of it, the actual box. It sits on top of this mount. You can see that my mount's torn, so I'll have to get a new one. But anyways, this is just to show you, because I'm about to go to lunch. You guys won't know just the time gap, but so the reason why we take that off, the airbox, is we gotta take the starter off, and there's a few other connectors. There's one back here, and a few others. I'll explain everything when I get back to lunch, and that's why we have to take these off too. For the kick down, I'll show you how to remove that. So I'm gonna go to lunch, and then we'll get back to you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. I'll try to post more often. It's just I'm trying to get different jobs in. I do side jobs, and I do work on other vehicles, but it's hard to, I don't know. I'm not always thinking about, oh, I need to make a video, but you know, from you guys' support, I'll probably start shooting you guys some more videos. But yeah, I'll get back to you guys. Decent meal. Came back, took those brackets off, took the starter out. So now we can see all the wires for the wiring harness. So obviously you're gonna want to take that one off. There's another one right under here. So take those off. You're gonna want to take this ground off. It goes right there. It's a 14. And yeah, so we'll go from there. Now that I got the wiring harness, it's 2 big ones, the bottom ones. So for the kick down, your position of the gear selector, and for this other one, those 2 are next to each other. And
What's going on, man?
you got this one right here. So once you get that all out, then you should be good. Keep on going. Don't forget the ground right here. It's a 14. And it goes right here. So yeah. Now we're gonna take off the kick down, which is this wire right here. So we'll do that, and it's 2 12s in the bottom of it. There's 2 12 bolts. So I'll show you that. You also got to take off this bolt down here, which is 12 or 13. It's the front one. Don't take off the back one. Yeah, I took all the wires off. It's these 2 down here, and when you route them back, this one right here goes right here. I think that might be a tranny temperature sensor, maybe. That would be my guess. So yeah, and that ground that I said, took that ground out of the way. So now we'll work on the kick down. So like I said, it's 2 12s in the bottom. It's gonna be, they're right about there. There's one right there, and one right next to it. So once you take those off, before you first take this bottom one off down here, the front one, not the one for the sensor, the one in the front. And then you can take that off, and then take this whole piece and tuck it away off to the side. Make sure you take the bottom one off, otherwise you have to put this one back on. So you might have the issue where it hits the pan and you can't pull it out. So what you do is, inside the cab, well, this is a cab, but inside the car you move your gear selector, and it should be neutral or drive, I believe. Whatever gear lets you get it out of there. Put the gear back in park when you're done, just so everything's back in the same spot. I mean, you could still move it for the install, but that's how I do it. So if you can't get that little guy out, move the actual gear selector in the car, and then you can pop that little guy out of there, and then take this whole bracket off. So I'll do that. And you might be thinking, well, I took the battery out, how am I going to move the gears? There is a shift lock on a lot of cars. I would say actual cars, automatic. They have, Toyota has them a lot. They have a shift lock. So what it is you take this little plastic piece out. Yeah. So it's just a little cover, and it's a plate. You push down, and it lets you move the gear selector. All right. So that's how you do that if your battery's disconnected, which it should be for this replacing a tranny. And this is the setup I used. Take those bolts off for the bracket for the kickdown to 12, 12 point. But the thing is, you don't want to strip those bolts down there because it's something really simple, and you know, if you want this to be an easy job, take your time, get them off. Same thing with these wires. They could be a doozy, but if it takes you 10-20 minutes, who cares? Get it off without breaking it. And I did forget to mention, if you happen to rip any of these, or cut them in half on accident during removal, repair it right away. So like if this one of these ripped, I would repair it right now. You might be thinking I'll just get to it later. If you forget, you'll have issues. You'll probably remember during the install, but if you take care of it right away, it's out of the way. You don't gotta worry about it, because these can be hard. Take your time though. Who cares if it takes you 20 minutes to take something out, right? But So we got this off now. So we're gonna move this out of the way. And once we got that took behind out of the way, probably work on taking this tranny split out, tranny mount. I won't reuse this one, obviously. So yeah, let's do that real quick. So now that we got all that stuff out of the way, put my frame tube I kicked down. I put it up here, so it's just out of the way. And everything on top is basically out or unplugged. All that's really left up here is this tranny mount, like I said. We can work on the dipstick now. It's a 10 millimeter, and it's the bottom. So that's a 10, and then just pull it out of the tranny pan. Just pull it straight out, and it'll pop out of the hole. Put it aside. Then probably you want to disconnect your tranny cooler lines. I like to take them off from right here. But if you do take them off from right here, just be careful when you're taking these off, because then it'll drop with the tranny. That way you don't have to really mess with that bracket. So if you do that, make sure to put a little bolt of some sort inside the hose and something to cover this part. I have little gaskets from radiator jobs. When the new radiator comes, it comes with little caps. I might still have them. I know it's in here somewhere. So that it's like this. So what you do is you find any bolt. It doesn't have to be the exact size, as long as it fits inside the hose, and that way you're not leaking all over the place. And then I would put this cap on here, and these kind of fall off because it's not an actual tool. I mean, it is, but not really. Just little things to help keep it more clean, So yeah, let me take those parts off, and we'll continue. Now that we got those disconnected and capped off, basically everything on top is basically out. All that's left is a tranny mount. At this point, I would take off the top tranny bolts, whatever ones you could reach up here. Don't take the bottom ones off. These are 17s. So there's 2 up here, 1 there, 1 here. There's also 1 in here, right behind this, not quite behind this bracket, but wedged up in here. It's right there. Fingers right on it. Right there. Don't forget that one. And there's also 1 down here, right there. You see it? You can get that one from the bottom too, but you might want to get it from up here. It's up to you. So get those tranny bolts, get that tranny mount, and now after that we can start removing the stuff underneath. So yeah, there's a lot of steps involved, but it could be done. To take this tranny mount out of here, it's a 14, so you'll get a shorty, 3/8, whatever you got, put on there. Then on this side you have a nut, it's also 14. Most of the time you could just loosen this and it'll back up by itself, but eventually you might have to hold it. Sometimes you don't, but that's what you do. And then you have these 4 nut bolts, they're 17s. Use a ratchet and socket if you can, or you might most likely need a wrench. Sometimes these could be pretty tight, so yeah. So let's do that right now. If I were you, actually do it. get a piece of wood, put it on here, and put the jack underneath the car, underneath the tranny pan, and lift it up so that this bolt right here is straight. Because otherwise it's going to be all cockeyed and it's going to be hard to come out. So just make it so that it's level, and then you can pop that nut out and then move on to those bolts. Or vice versa, but I like to take this one off first. Because I mean, you could technically just do it right now, but then it's going to be like this. And then you would have to grab the jack anyways. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But that's what I advise you do. You don't need to do that anyways. I mean, I'm sure you could probably wrestle it out, but I advise you use the jack with a piece of wood. Otherwise, you could and might puncture a hole in the pan. Even though this tranny is no good anyways. But I like to do it professional and clean every time. It's just the way I work. So yeah, handy dandy. Block of wood. Yeah. And crank on the jack until the trainer comes up. I know it's hard for you to tell, but it's actually straight now. So now I'm just gonna work around it now, and I won't have no issues. This bolt literally came out effortlessly. So if you want that to happen, I just had to crank down on the jack just a little more, because what happened was I made it straight because it was like kind of cockeyed. I made it straight. It was still kind of, I couldn't pull it out with my fingers. So I kept lifting on it. It was like 3 or 4 pumps maybe, I don't know. And it literally just pulled on out. So it shouldn't fight you. So now we'll take off the bolts and remove that bracket off. You don't have to take, I took the tranny mount out. You don't have to take the bracket out. If your tranny that you're going to install doesn't have it, then maybe. You could still wait to remove it, I would. But generally speaking, you don't usually have to take these brackets out. So I took that tranny mount out. I took all the bolts on top. It was one here, one a little bit further down, still on top though. The one that's up behind in this weird well-like thing. And that's it. We can start working on the underneath things now. So let's get started on the underneath things. Alrighty then. So I went ahead and took the tires off. Then I took off the lower link arm. Well, it's just the link arm, but the lower part of it, because that would give you room to get the axle out. And also the lower ball joint. So I did the same thing on the other side. Took the tire off, then the link arm, then the lower ball joint. And you pull down really hard. Just pull straight down and push the ball joint towards the back. Same thing on the other side. The same thing. And so now we have to work on removing the axles. So I'm going to start with the passenger front. It's the easiest. And if you can't get this one out easy, you can hit it out. So I'm just going to start on this side. It's 214s. Once you get those loose, hit on this bracket. Be very careful not to hit the edges, because you'll bend where the bolt goes in. So use a little common sense here and don't just start going crazy. Once it's open enough to get a pry bar, I would do that. Just be careful with the edges, because then it'll like bend and you won't be able to get the nut in. So there's one 14 bolt on the bottom. and one on top. And then this, once you start hitting it, it'll separate, that plate will separate, and the axle will basically come out. But before you get into that, I would pull it out. If it's out of the wheel hub, I would pull it out first and then work on the bolts. So let's do that. Alright, so continuing where we left off, I removed both axles. Okay, at this point it might be a good idea to support the tranny because I'm going to remove the mounts that help hold it. It's just extra safety, but I would do it anyways because I'm going to drop this front center bracket, this big long one. It makes it a lot easier. I already took the side ones off. Those are 17s. All these are 17s. Just take all those brackets off, and then we'll continue on. After removing these side brackets here, which are 17s, I would work on this front mount right here. This bolt right here is 19. Remove that first with the tranny supported. And there's two 17 bolts up in here. So take those out, and you can get this mount out, and then you could drop this center bracket. And we do that because this bracket right here on the tranny will hit. And you could take that mount out, then the bracket, but I would do it this way. So 19 for that center bolt, and then these are all 17s. They're tucked up in here. After you take off these brackets first, then you can take this one off after you remove that one. But they're 17s. You might have to use a 12 point because sometimes you get kind of slanted from hitting the ground or speed bumps, whatever. So yeah. So you don't have to put the jack on before you remove these side brackets, but after you remove these side brackets, do this. Put the jack under it. Because when you go to take that bolt off, it's gonna drop. So yeah, it's better to be safe than sorry. This probably will hold it, but just do it. Just support it. So I took that center bolt out, and it's the bottom 17s, and that mount will come right out. Then I could drop this center bracket, and then we can work on the rear tranny mount. Alright, so we took that bracket off, and you can basically see everything almost.
The booster's already moved.
So now we gotta take this rear mount off. So first it's that 10mm bolt on top. It's this one right here. Then you'll take off the center one, which they're usually a 17. It's on this side. The head of it is right there. So first that 10mm on top, then this bottom bolt, and the 17s underneath. I actually have a tranny mount video if you want to check it out. But yeah, we'll do that and continue on. Here's that tranny mount. Oh, this is very bad. The center bolt in here can be a doozy. So what I did was I loosened the bolts from the bottom, and I lifted the tranny up, and I just used my elbow grease to pull it out of there. It's kind of hard to do, but once you have that, the only thing left, if you did everything like how I said, should be the bottom bolts. They're 14s, these bottom ones are. There's one more at the very top, right there. This guy right here. Right there, do you see it? Try to point at it, it's right there. It's like right there. And that's it. And that was a 14 too. You can see that it's kind of hard to point at it, but yeah. Once you get those out, then you can drop the tranny. Last part, it basically just dropped. You might have to scoot it back a little. And there was actually one more bolt right here. I couldn't see it because there was dust all over it. But the tranny should not be hard at all to separate. It should basically separate with very little help. And then you just kind of move it back towards the front and just drop it. You can see that there's like it's like a well for where the like the differential part of the tranny, the front wheel drive aspect of it. There's a well right here, so it shouldn't really bother you too much. And you see this right here, that's for the rear mount right here, so you don't have to take that off. See, it's split, so it just kind of just drops in between here. Just be careful when you're doing this. I have the right equipment. I'm sure you could do this another way, but this is how I have to do it because this is for my work. We're getting ready to repaint this one, but yeah, anyways. So that's how you remove it, and so now we'll work on the install. But there's like guide pins, these things right here. There's two of them, one on right there and one on the other side, towards the top. And those guide pins are just that, they help you slide the tranny in. And you see these little wells right here? It's not the holes for the bolts, it's like a little well, and it'll basically not line up. And you basically line those up and kind of just push it together, and then you put the bottom bolts. I mean, I'll walk through that. I'm just kind of explaining a little bit. So I'm gonna get this tranny out of here, get my other one before it keeps leaking. So yeah, hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. Put it back exactly how you got it out. So if you remember when you were pulling it out, this lines up right here. So basically line that up right there. And your guide pins. But you want to get it really close. Like really close, and then lift it up.
How close?
And then put the guide pins in. And just be watching that bracket in the back. Make sure it's in the middle. Oops. Make sure it's in the middle. That far. And you should be basically in. So I'll show you right now. Right here. So I had to move it over, and it barely cleared. But once it went up, I pushed in the differential part of it right in the well, and it's basically almost right where it needs to be. You can see about where you want it. So right now I'm gonna line up that guide pin. You should basically go in. So I also moved the engine. I moved it down so it's more straight. And yeah, that's about it. So let's do that real quick. Right in there, just like how I said. Basically the engine was pretty straight, the tranny was pretty straight, and it was probably about that far off. Because what I do is I kind of push it, and it kind of already wants to go in. So you just have to follow it, what it says, and you can see that there's still some gap. But these bolts line up. So now what I'm gonna do is grab a bolt and run it, not tight, just run it to where it's flush here. Same thing on the back over here, and that'll close it. And that's it. So you install everything. As soon as I tighten these down and get everything pretty straight, I'll put my bracket on for the engine mount. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. All I have left is this little guy, don't forget that. And right now I'm working on the flywheel bolts. So, excuse me. Make sure that they go in easy. So this is the first one. So I'm gonna basically time it to where it almost basically turns the motor with it. And then you move on to the next one. You have to do it that way. Otherwise, the flywheel is gonna get caught up, and it can be a bitch. This is the first bolt. First hand start it, you know, that way it doesn't strip. tighten it until it basically moves the motor with it, and then just barely crack it loose, maybe a little more. And then you could put the rest of them on and then tighten them down. So remember, there's 6 of them, and they're 14s. If your second one doesn't line up, you might have to go back this one out, and turn the torque converter. It'll spin and line up another hole. So that's how we do that. Alright, so after you get your tires, after you get your axles in, what you do is you have to slide the axles in the tranny, and the other end of it you're going to slide through the wheel head, or the end of it. You know how it sticks out. And you slide it out all the way and make sure it comes out. Once you do that, then you can put your lower ball joint back in. I kind of skipped ahead. I finished that training one day, so I had to kind of speed things up towards the end, but you just basically do everything back in reverse. So after the axles, the lower ball joint, basically slide the axle out of the wheel and leave it there, connect your lower ball joint, tighten the bolts, not all the way, just kind of tighten them. Put your link arm in, kind of tighten it. That way you know everything will be in place. I mean, if you were able to take it apart, you should remember pretty much how to go back in order. You know, just make sure the axles go in all the way. The driver's side is harder. The key to it is to make sure it goes in straight. It's going to be kind of hard. I use my shoulder to push up on the caliper and steering knuckle. If you can grab someone, it might help. It could help you a lot. So let's say you got all the axles in, everything is good, you can put your tires on, and then just start working on everything on top. The thing I just would tell you is do not forget that ground, that 14 ground. You see it right there? Do not forget that. Make sure you tighten everything down, and that's it. I mean, it's basically just reverse of what you did. The hardest part of putting it back together would be lining it up with the motor. But I mean, other than that, everything's pretty straightforward. You can refer to my other videos if you need any help. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this how-to video. I'm sure I'll have some others coming soon. Thanks for watching.